From Wish TV and the All Indiana Podcast Network, this is the Business, Equity, and Opportunities Podcast with Scott Sander.
Welcome to the Business, Equity, and Opportunities Podcast. I'm Scott Sander. Today's pod is an exclusive extended edition with extra information and conversation beyond what you saw in our Sunday morning broadcast. Between now and the June 16th release of the NAWBO Indy Boss Ladies magazine, we're introducing you to some of the leading local women of business and hear their success stories. Today, we meet Jamalia Brashears, the owner of JLB Advisors. She credits NAWBO for helping her professional growth.
Every business is unique and has a target audience. If you own or manage a business, Circulus Digital Media can help you connect and grow your customer base with turnkey digital solutions that are nimble, offering best-in-class results, service, and support to reach a bigger customer base, allowing you to pinpoint a specific audience down to the smallest details. Get outside the city, the state, span the globe. Put Circulus Digital Media to work for you. Get started now at circulusdigital.com. That's circulusdigital.com.
Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. I don't know if you knew this, but anyone can get the same premium wireless for $15 a month plan that I've been enjoying. It's not just for celebrities. So do like I did and have one of your assistants switch you to Mint Mobile today. I'm told it's super easy to do at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. Intro rate first 3 months only, then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See full terms at mintmobile.com.
Sure. My name is Jamalia Brashears, and I'm the principal and founder of JLB Advisors. And JLB Advisors is a full-service philanthropic advisory firm located here in Indianapolis. Actually, I just moved to Indianapolis just shy of 2 years ago from New York City. And I actually feel like I'm coming home. I went to high school here, but I realized this is the perfect place to launch an advisory firm to support social entrepreneurs and nonprofits in their resource development. And I also work with foundations trying to meet their social impacts and also identify the right investments for their objectives and their portfolios.
How has been that transition for you?
Well, culturally, I could say that there's a transition. You know, New York is very bustling. It's a very big city. But the one thing that really doesn't change is the need for organizations to really identify revenue and resources outside of, particularly right now, the stage that we're in is government grants. So a lot of organizations are struggling to identify institutional foundations to support their programs and operations. And Indianapolis is a space where there's a multitude of nonprofits and also a multitude of industries too that can really support them in their programming. And for the foundations too, there's a lot of, actually Indiana has the largest number of community foundations in the country. Every county has a community foundation. So it's a state that has a strong commitment to social change and social impacts, and it's a city where nonprofits are really trying to do systems change to really make a stronger impact. So I feel like I'm coming to not only a city but a state with a strong bedrock and foundation to move the needle to make everyone have more access to all the great that the city and the state has to offer.
I love that. So let's back up. As an entrepreneur yourself, when did you start? Where did you get that interest? And what was your path to lead you up to knowing that you could start your own business? But how did you get to where you are?
So my background is actually in philanthropy, and I worked in a number of foundations across the country. I got my start actually at Robert Wood Johnson Foundation. And for me, I learned what does it really mean to kind of push the needle in social change and be at the table to advocate for communities that are underserved and underfunded? And namely, I also wanted to learn how to better advocate for communities that I was proximate to. So Black and Brown communities and communities that were really trying to support the economic mobility, the racial equity of communities that were really needing of funding and resources. So that was my start in philanthropy, and I worked at a number of foundations. And I realized that through institutional foundations and well as corporate foundations too, that is a wonderful way to support community engagement, so to be an advocate for organizations that are looking to really make systems change. But then I realized too that there's another need at bay, that while philanthropy plays a major role in that, I can actually support the organizations themselves. So I switched from philanthropy to working in development, and I built out a lot of development offices in New York City. And one of the main struggles that I realize is that a lot of nonprofits really don't have the infrastructure and the support to build stronger relationships with funders. And not only is it's beyond just grant writing, but it's also being able to effectively tell their story, to cultivate those relationships and sustain those relationships. So I decided that I can be that voice to build a stronger bridge between the funder community as well as those that are seeking the funds. And I work with both nonprofits and social entrepreneurs as well as funders. And kind of going back to Indianapolis, I think that there's a wealth of opportunity and a wealth of need for the nonprofit community to build and diversify their revenue. And to be able to do that, it really, there's a lot of supports that's needed to strengthen those relationships from a multitude of funders, from your individual donors and foundations alike.
I think it's pretty obvious why you were selected to be a part of this illustrious group for this Boss Lady magazine. So talk a little bit about that connection with the organization.
Sure.
And what your feeling is about that.
Sure. So when I started my business, I became an accidental consultant. I really didn't know what consulting was or how to do a consulting firm, what that looked like, even what a revenue model was. All I knew is that I had a passion to do this work, and it came from an expertise in philanthropy and development, but I didn't understand the infrastructure really needed to build what will be a successful business, and also who I really needed to be connected to. So when I moved to Indianapolis, I joined the chamber, and that was a great experience to be connected to other businesses, and these not only the small businesses but large businesses alike. But I also realized that something was really missing, and what was missing was more of a intimate connection to other business leaders and other women in business, where I could have an unapologetic connection and really talk about how am I doing this? What are the real pain points? And even recommendations to kind of adjust my practice, and who also I need to speak with. While this is kind of a small town, it's also a really big city with major industry, and having direct access to leaders in the industry can be kind of challenging. And for me, NAWBO provides direct access, is very intentional in terms of putting you in front of other leaders in the city of major corporations. And they are willing to offer not only guidance on their pathway, but really to give you strategic guidance on your own pathway.
So why, with what's going on in the world right now, is it so important that leaders like you and women like you and small businesses can connect together to try to push things forward and to keep our seats at the table, so to speak?
Sure. Well, as we all are aware, our country is pretty much under siege, and changing the rights of underserved populations every day. And for me, my work is rooted in social impact and equity. So for me, as a woman small business owner, my role is imperative. I'm working with organizations that are the safety net of this country. You know, when government services are being taken away, I work with organizations that are that backfill. So for me, my infrastructure, my business has to be critical and strong to support these organizations. And right now, too, we're also under siege as a country in terms of the idea of women's rights. And NAWBO for me is unique in that it supports the policy aspects as an advocacy, and it shares what's coming down the pike at the federal level and those drawdowns of how that really impacts both the state and the cities. And you really rarely get that kind of that lens of how the change in policy impacts not only women but women business owners. So I think that is a really unique aspect of NAWBO, and I really want to continue to be a part of that process and that conversation.
What fills your heart with passion, knowing what you're succeeding, what you're fighting for, and what you're able to accomplish?
Well, it's interesting too, because I feel as though this is a city that is really rooted in relationships and relationship building. And oftentimes, I think as you're a business owner, you want, people are expecting you to ring the bell at the NASDAQ your first week of business. And the life doesn't really happen like that. And everything is incremental. And the unique thing about NAWBO and the relationships that I'm building, they have translated not only into contracts, but it's been the root of really having effective relationships. And given that this city is really rooted in relationships and where people grew up and even where you went to high school too. And I went to high school here. I really found that understanding the real core and the unique nature of relationships has been really critical in my more recent success. And I think that people take that with them when they share word about my business. It's about the character of who I am, as well as the work that I do. But people really are really interested in the character of how I work. And and the spirit of who I am too. So I think that is something that I've learned that is really carried with me to kind of meeting individuals that I otherwise probably wouldn't be able to meet. So I'm very intentional about every meeting that I have, and leaving strong impressions that are really character and values based.
Our thanks again to all the contributors who joined us for this episode of the Business Equity and Opportunities podcast. We hope you found it enlightening, useful, and inspiring. You'll find more information about the show on our website, beoshow.com. You can watch Business Equity and Opportunities Sunday mornings at 10 on Wish TV or live stream it through wishtv.com. Each week we provide 7 full segments with topics ranging from how to get started and how to access capital to the day-to-day running of your business and questions about accounting and bookkeeping. We feature business news and trends and always share a success story from one of our contributors. Join us next time for more insights into the world of small business. Be sure to sign up for our Business Equity and Opportunities newsletter to get even more valuable, up-to-date information. And if you have any questions or you'd like to be part of our show, please email us. The address is beo@wishtv.com. We'd love to hear from you. I'm Scott Sander. Thanks for listening.
Watch the Business Equity and Opportunities show on Wish TV and access all of our content and share it on demand anytime at beoshow.com. You can find more podcasts from Wish TV on the All Indiana Podcast Network at allindianapodcastnetwork.com.